Alright, so today I'm going to try to replace the stock subs in my GTO with these Precision Power 8-inch subwoofers. I think they should fit, so my camera's about to die, but I'm going to plug it in and then I'll start the video up once I get the interior out of the car. So stay tuned and hopefully it gets a little louder by the end of this. Alright, well, right into my first issue. I thought I had the chuck for the little impact, so I could use all these sockets, but I don't, so I'm going to run up to the store, because I really don't have to pull out all these bolts with just a regular wrench, because that would be time consuming and annoying, and I have to pull this seat out to get into the back seat. So, and that's part of the reason why I'm doing this is the windows have been down at a bunch of shows this year, and they've all been really dusty, so I need to pull the back seats out to clean them off and condition them, and obviously that is all the space that I have with the seat fully forward. So I'm gonna go grab some chucks for the little impact, and then I'll be back, and hopefully the camera will be charged. Alright, so I got the whole interior out, as you can see, or most of it, and that panel on the other side is not out, so I didn't have to get it out to get the rear shelf out. But, and the other seat isn't, so it's not entirely out. But I found my first little hiccup, which I didn't think about, was the speaker, like the motor fits through the rear shelf, but I'll just go into the car and show you what it's looking like. Let's see. I don't know if you're gonna see anything in here because it is kind of dark, but the interior is kind of stripped apart. So, as you can see, motor fits through the shelf fine, but the terminals do not. So, I need to go grab some metal cutting shears or something to just cut out like an inch over there, and then it should drop in. But as you can see, that's the stock speaker housing. That's the new speaker. From what I've been told on the forum, I basically am gonna take this rim here and grind it all flat, and then just find a way to mount the speaker in here. So I guess I might work on that first, because I'm just gonna get metal cutting shears when I'm out for dinner, like drop by Lowe's. So that's my plan right now. But yeah, just figured the camera was charged, so I would start to fill in some more information. But yeah, I already managed when I was pulling the pins out of this, that put the rear shelf on to stick sound deadener under my fingernail, so that hurt really bad. But yeah, in this process I'm gonna do a little more sound deadening. As you can hear, there's a big difference in the steel sound, so I want to redo, or not redo necessarily, but do some of this, because this is the enclosure for the subwoofers. So I'm gonna redo that, and I guess I'll clean up the interior and cut these rims down, because even if it won't fit, that doesn't negatively affect my speakers in the car in any way. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll bring the camera back out a little bit later. Alright, so as you can see, the subs are set in the rear shelf. I just made sure the motors fit. You can see over there, I think you can see over there. Yeah, you can see there that I had to cut back the shelf a little bit for the terminals to fit through. I'm not really sure how this is gonna work with this big of driver, because it nearly entirely covers up the holes through the shelf. So I don't know if it's just gonna act like this area, like under the shelf, is the enclosure or what. But I mean, even just with it playing open air like this, like it had good bass response just a minute ago. So I'm gonna cut up the mounts and then put these back in, and hopefully it sits a little bit off the shelf, because if it touches the shelf, it's going to be rattly, and obviously rattly bass doesn't sound good. So alright, so here are the speaker components. This is one of the stock speakers, still in its factory little bucket. This is a modified speaker, as you can see, bucket, speaker, and here's a loose speaker. So let me show kind of what I did to mount this speaker in. It's a little different than what the forum says, just because my speakers are different, because they don't make JLW08s anymore. So let me show you that. Let me flip this over, and I'm gonna be careful not to smash the surround. So as you see, big washer here. That was a forum suggestion because most speakers like these have obviously a mount here for the terminals, and there's another mount over here for equivalent terminals. And kind of the way it's in here, the terminals are wedged on one side, on the other side it's a screw through the other mount, and like you can pick this up, it doesn't move. So I think that is perfectly fine. The question is, will these still sit down under the rear shelf? I think they will. And if you see here, there's a little gap. I'm going to seal that up with some aluminum tape, similar to the way you think of sound deadening. Through my time in audio stuff, my buddies kind of call it SPL tape because it's really good for sealing up all these gaps. They use it on ducting and things like that in normal use. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one up and go ahead, and I'm gonna probably time lapse it just so you can see what I'm doing, and I'll show what exactly I tolerance back on it. I guess you can kind of see on this side, I cut every single edge to clear the basket, and I left all the mounting holes for the stock subs if I ever choose to put them back in, like if I part the car out or something. So I just did that, and that's kind of the same way I did my door speakers, because I have 7s or 8s, I don't remember what, they're 7 or 8 inch silver flutes in the doors, and I had to cut the door mounts very similarly. But as you can tell, I was very logical with how I put my fan, because now all my freshly cleaned panels are covered in black plastic shavings. My cat thinks it's entertaining though. So yeah, I'm gonna continue working on this. I'll try to throw the time lapse up. Try to throw the time lapse up as I trim the baskets down. So just hold on for that. Alright, I don't know how good the time lapse is. I haven't really messed with it that much, but as you can see, speakers are set in. These guys had a lot of plastic trimmed out. So I guess the next step is take a little bit of aluminum tape, seal up the bottoms of these, and then put it in the rear shelf one more time. Make sure it sounds decent. I have some Rockford Fosgate wire that I want to use as opposed to the wire that's in the car. So I'm going to redo that, and I'm going to cut the video on probably, maybe as I put these in the rear shelf. That seems like a good spot to start up with. Alright, I know you can barely see any of this, but this is the rear shelf, or the rear wall. GTO is kind of a rear firewall deal. So I just added the NVX sound deadener and this black second skin Amplifier Pro. But I just wanted to, I thought something was really neat when I was messing with it. Like kind of the test I've always heard with sound deadener to kind of like see how like it changed the properties of the metal, or reinforce the metal is kind of knock on it. So this is alpha damp. Like when I deadened the car initially, this was the best of the best from second skin, and very sturdy, or very good sounding. This is the Amplifier Pro. I think it's like their B stock or something, so it's got like imperfections, so it's not perfect. Like I think this had a corner folded over or something. So this is how this sounds. So a little bit different sound. This is NVX. This was just free with like a set of door speakers I got or something from Sonic Electronics. I just threw this in the package with the thing. So this is how this sounds compared to about the same, not too different. About the same. But this to this, big difference in sound. I don't know if it picks up on the camera, but thought it was pretty neat anyway. So got this all sealed up. This is a big hole. There's a big hole here, holes here, holes here. Now it's just little holes. I don't think that's really going to affect it, especially since a big foam piece of the seat goes here. I'm assuming you can't see the rear speakers, but they're covered in aluminum tape. They're bolted in, sealed with aluminum tape on both sides. Then electrical taped everything where the connections touch. I ended up just sticking with the wiring in the car. There's nothing really wrong with it, and you only see where it goes into the amp in one little spot, and it's not bad looking wire to start with. So just gonna leave that in there. I'm probably gonna take these out at some point and step up to an even nicer sub than the PPIs. So I'm gonna finish up with cleaning the glass all through here, vacuuming my rear shelf, because obviously I can't get back to my rear shelf ever with the seats in, but yeah, so gonna do that. Alright, so it's a few weeks since I did the subs and everything, in the car. I kind of wanted to just give it a chance, like let everything settle, let anything that was like loose on the rear shelf kind of rattle itself loose before I kind of made my opinion, or like really figured out if like something was like really screwed up with it. So far I haven't got no issues with it. I don't know if my trunk's clean or not, but I'll pop the trunk and show that everything's kind of chilling there. Oh, okay. But yeah, it's not really clean. I got a hat, just jumper cables. But yeah, so the speakers are in there. I don't know if you can really see much of anything back there, but those are the speakers. You can see I cut back a little bit of the rear shelf back there. But as a whole, I'm here. All right. But as a whole, really happy with the setup. Stereo sounds really good. I guess I'll play it a little bit. I know, like, if you're like the 10 subscribers that I had from when I was making audio videos, you know that as well as I do that audio stuff never shows up well on camera, but I'm gonna record it anyway. It's just gonna, if it's loud, it's gonna just be muffled on the camera. I don't really know how the GoPro reacts to bass, so I'll do that. Kind of show off, I guess, how the stereo sounds on camera, if that makes any sense. But yeah, and I guess the trunk does flex a little bit, so I guess I'll show that, which that's kind of impressive for just being 2/8, but it is an infinite baffle setup, so it really is just one of the baffles on this enclosure flexing at that point. So anyway, I'm gonna start the car up, and Jesus. Well, I'm gonna start the car up now after I've nailed my shin with the door, but yeah, so I guess I'll continue with that. Alright, so I guess I'll start with something relatively tasteful, for lack of better words, but I picked up the newer Linkin Park CD the other day. Just kind of been listening to a lot of their music, so I figured I'd buy the CD, but plus it can go in the CD player in here, which makes it easy. But let's see. Heavy, one of their big songs off the new album. I'll play that. We'll see what it does.
I wanna let go, but there's comfort in the panic. And I drive myself crazy, thinking everything's about me. Yeah, I drive myself crazy, cause I can't escape the gravity. Why is everything...
There's that. Not really anything too exciting, because it's just the vocals really and a good bass response. And obviously going back there I tried to show the flex, but it's not really doing anything, so you probably just got a lot of exhaust noise. But I guess the next thing I'll do, which is a little more impressive to me, is play some of the old chopped and screwed stuff that I have from back when I was really into car audio and really into SPL and everything. So I'm gonna pull that up, and I guess I'll keep the camera rolling, or I'll just start the video when I find the music I want. So I'll pop this back up, and I mean the flex isn't anything crazy. It's not like a big monster setup. It's impressive for just being in a stock sub location, but it is 2/8 in a very large enclosure, so you kind of expect it to do some stuff. But the trunk lid flexes, the mirrors flex, like you feel it between when your head's between the window or if you're getting in and out of the car. So it's like any other like simplistic sub setup, but I'll start the recording up in a second. So that's pretty much all I have to say or show or anything with the whole sub install. As a whole, like I've done a lot of sub setups in this car, and I think most of them are on my channel somewhere. I know at least the big 15 setup is, and I'm pretty sure at least the little 15 on low power was in there. So on all those things, honest to God, the best thing to do with this car is just replace the stock subs with some subs that can take power. Like, it seemed really simplistic, like now in hindsight, and like back in high school and stuff when I was initially building this car, even my freshman year of college, to be an audio car, it was just a huge waste of time and money and effort to put huge substages in this car. It's just not going to get loud. Like, when it was on with the single Phi SP4 15 on a Crescendo 3500, so it was almost 4,000 watts of power, it still could only do a 139.5, and it's like, that's such a low level score, and that was at like 42 hertz, so it wasn't even impressive. Like, this plays at a full range of sound, and the way the car's set up, it's really easy to do a like three-way active front stage. Like, I have 7s in the doors, tweeters in the sail panels, and I think 2.5s in the dash, and it sounds great. It's got great sound. Honestly, like, I've talked to a lot of buddies who are still into audio, and we all agree that modern cars just do such a good job with their stereos. Like, my brand new Grand Cherokee stereo is awesome, but it's like I get in this car, and the stereo is even better. So, the substage now is just as on point as the rest of the front stage, which is all I really wanted to accomplish with this. Yeah, I can play some lows and some like crazy bassy stuff, but it's like, really, for all I want it to just have a good sound, and have a good sound for everything. So I think it accomplished that pretty well, and for anybody who wants to do this, I would 100% suggest it. And while some of the stuff may seem a little sketchy, like using like aluminum tape and stuff like that to seal up holes, I'm not hearing any unloading or anything like that, which that's really the important thing with the sub. And it's still, they're held in. I don't hear the subs rattling. I think I hear a little bit of them hitting the rear shelf under high power, but I mean, even with my setup, I have a Kicker ZX 1500 amp, and it's only turned up to like 1/3 of its gain, so it's not anything crazy by bass standards, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I hope, if you've made it this far in the video, which I think it's a pretty interesting video at least to watch, so if you really enjoyed it and enjoy seeing someone doing stuff with one of these 04 GTOs, feel free to subscribe. The car's, like, every time I look at it I think it's done, but there's always more stuff to do, so I can always make more videos about the different things I've done with it. If people comment saying they want to see different things, I will do different things with it. So, thanks for watching, and please subscribe and come back and watch more videos. Thank you very much.